person that's here at the table today that we can help him launch his investment business, right? And so the first question that he asked me was, where do I start, right? Where do I start? So today is all about how to not just start, but how to create what I call your board of advisors. So let me get my mouse on this screen. There you go. So that's the first step. Once you have your board of advisors, this is what we're doing today, right? It's your roundtable. It's going to be people that you know, like, trust, or it might even be a warm introduction. Like I said to you at our first meeting, I'm going to give you several names of several people for you to meet. Mr. Jones, 3 of those people are present in this room right now. So that's how I show up and show out for you as a business partner, right? I say to Kenneth and Nicole all the time, I have clients for you, do I not? I hand drag them to you, I inbox you, I get in the emails and do warm introductions to just let everybody know you're an extension of my client. Therefore, when I call Nicole and I say, Nicole, I would like you to meet Mr. Jones. This is a real life want-to-be investor, and I want to know how we can help him. How we can help him. That means she's already on board, because who deserves a seat at the table, right? So that's our step 1 in the whole puzzle piece for doing real estate investing. It is literally, who is on my board? When you create a business, the first thing that you've got to do outside of creating the business, registering it with the Secretary of State, is to do what? It's called an operating agreement, right? So in entrepreneurship and business, I'm going to do a little documenting, y'all. Here, Joystick Jr. is coming to life. I want y'all to see my work screen. All right? So if you have your board of advisors, and there are several seats at the table that need to be filled in entrepreneurship, I did a little bit of a different demonstration with you, Mr. Jones, during our meeting, right? But this one is specific to, thank you for coming, make yourself welcome. So this is specific to who are those key players in order for us to launch this investment company. So I said step 1 was to create your business. And so if you have to create your business, what if you don't know how to create your business? That was one of your questions, right? So Bernadette, hi sweetie, thank you for jumping on. Let me add you right now because I'm gonna have you chime in, okay? And hopefully you'll be able to connect, and then I've got Bernadette here with us as well. All right, so the first thing, once you create your business, is how about we come up with a name for that? And once you create or think of your name and you brainstorm that name, do you know what the next thing you have to do is? I'm turning all these cameras, y'all. You have to check with the Secretary of State to see if this entity already exists. Yeah. Does everyone get that? Mm-hmm. Right. So you wanted to know, hey, well, where do I start? Get your name and register it. There is a fee for that. Make sure that you put your coins to the side, okay? So there's a fee for that. So once you've registered your name, then you're gonna do that piece that I said, your board of advisors. Some people call it board of directors, because you're gonna identify who these partners are so that now the Secretary of State knows who are these people that might have the power and the authority to sign on these deals. Who is the person that Nicole and Kenneth at Baker & Collins need to approve? Do you understand? So we talked about that. You were like, well, if I'm not the money guy, can I then maybe partner with the money guy? Well, here is the money guy to answer that very, very specifically. Because there are ways that entities as a business purchase real estate for investment. It might not be under Mr. Jones, but rather it's under Jones Enterprises, LLC. And you said that to me. You're like, well, I want an LLC. Why do you want an LLC?
For profit.
For profit. But that's not the only business structure for profit. Did you know that? So there. These are the key points, you guys. And Bernadette, can you come on in? Okay, perfect, when you're ready. I'm going to bring you on next, okay? So Bernadette Harris is a certified public accountant and forensic accountant. For those of you that don't know what that means she knows how to get down and dirty in some books, right? Numbers is her game, and that financial piece is going to be number one. I'm going to give her the first seat because your specific question was, how do I create my business for profit? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Bernadette, I'm going to bring you on, sweetie, and I want you to address Mr. Jones here, who has a question about specific ways to structure the business with the best tax strategies, okay? For profit, that is. We want to keep all the money. We want to keep all the money, okay? So, whenever you can, go ahead and jump on, and I'm going to turn my little screen around so that they can see and hear you as well. And everybody, we're going to have Bernadette give some feedback and some information about how to actually structure the business, okay? And so then, now that we've got our board, right, that document that I said that you're going to need in order for the lender, your money partner, to structure that deal is called an operating agreement. And without this document, there is no deal. They can attest to that. This is the proof of who has the right to do this. Sign on the dotted line. Because anybody can be businessname.com, but now under businessname.com, because we're asking someone else for their money, we have to have some documentation in place in the beginning. Okay? So that's your step one. So then your step two, like I mentioned, that's going to be financials. That's always in my top three. And when I say financials, I'm talking about your credit. When I say financials, I'm talking about your savings. When I say financials, I'm talking about tax strategies.
It's personal, my personal.
This goes both ways. Okay? And so that's another question too, Bernadette, that you can answer for Richard. He asks, is this going to be on my personal taxes or is this going to be on the business taxes? And that's a great question. I will make sure that she addresses that for everyone because that is an awesome question, especially if you want to go the LLC route. Okay, and I know that because that's personally how I'm structured. So I know all the ins and outs there. Okay, but I want you to know all your options under your financials, right? So if you come to me, Sabrina, I'm ready to become an investor. I saw this house down the street. I think I want to own this property and fix it for a profit. So that's that fix and flip strategy, right? That's where the bang for the buck is for most investors. You're going to take this amount of money, you're going to put this amount of money into the repairs and making it wonderful, and then you're going to turn around and then you're going to make your money because you've developed it in such a way that there's some money left over after all the bills are paid, right? Mm-hmm. That's what makes you a successful investor. Keeping as much money in your pocket as you can. Do you agree? Okay, perfect. So go ahead, Bernadette. I want to bring you on, sweetie, okay? As soon as she connects, we're going to do a little bit of our technology testing here so that y'all can see and hear. Hi, Nate. Thank you for joining. How are you? I've got Danny Yair. Hey, Eva Insights, Freedom Every Day, Spontaneous Promotions. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in today live with me here. We are doing our inaugural Investors Roundtable, and I'm just here with a few of my friends and colleagues, and they are trying to get some information. So look, I'm going to spin this around so you all can get a glimpse and a view of what's happening here live in the boardroom, okay? And if you all have your devices as well, you can join on if you need to. All right, so here we go. We're going to continue, and like I said, as soon as I see Bernadette pop on, I'll get her to continue. So I lost my connection here. Bear with me one moment. I need that to come back on. Wireless. Come back. Come on back. And I don't remember if it was 847. Oh, yeah. I lost it.
Your signal to the TV?
Oh my goodness, what happened?
I don't know that part.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
You go ahead, Michael. Help. Come on, I'm about to say, go on up there.
Okay, well, that's okay.
Mm.
I can do it without the technology. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. So here's what I was getting at, okay? So basically, at this point, can y'all see me here? Okay, great. Can y'all see? Perfect. Bernadette, try it one more time, sweetie. My back was turned. Send me the request one more time to join, please. See if I can get her on. It should be. There it is. I see it now. Yay! All right, y'all. So we're going to have Bernadette Harris present for us, and she is the owner of By the Book Accounting. Hi, my love. I see you just fine. So here, look, there's everyone.
Hey, Bernadette.
Don't you love technology? Yes. So I was just introducing the piece about how to set up the business, as you heard. And I have a real life investor and their partner here in the room. And their specific question is, when setting up the new business, how do you set it up for profit? And what are the best strategies? All right.
So one of the things that I heard in my ears got really up this when you said, "Hey, Latif, Tish, hey, thanks for being here." So when you all said that you wanted to set up an LLC, I said, because that's exactly the thing that you want to do. Is you want to use an LLC, and the LLC is an excellent entity choice from an accounting standpoint or a tax standpoint because it has lots of
Any questions, anyone? Hey, Glenn, thank you for coming. Any questions? Bernadette,
I have a question.
One question.
go ahead.
No question.
Yes, yes,
One
question.
question.
One question.
So set up your LLC, and depending on how many owners you have in the LLC will determine whether or not you're gonna be a partnership or if you're gonna be a sole proprietorship. Somebody asked about taxes, and will you need your personal tax returns or your business tax returns? In most cases, it's gonna be both. And so, basically, your tax game needs to be on point. You need to have a tax return that is going to make a lender want to loan you money. So if you have a tax return with a whole bunch of business losses, forget about it. If you have a tax return where you're not claiming income, writing off everything that you did and some, forget about it. So you have to have a strategy in place, and I'm not saying don't take your deductions. So when I have a client, when I work with a client, I always ask, what are your long-term goals? Are you planning to purchase a home? Are you planning to purchase a car? Are you planning to purchase any kind of property in the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
Because if the answer is yes, then you cannot write every single thing off.
Right.
Because writing every single thing off does not help you when it's time to purchase a home. It looks like you're not making any money. And yeah, maybe you didn't pay any taxes, but now you can't buy it. You know? And so there has to be a tax strategy in place. If you're looking to invest in real estate, you need to realize that even if you set up a separate entity and that entity has a separate tax return, more than likely you're going to be the personal guarantee for that loan, and they want to see your personal tax returns too. So if you have not filed personal tax returns, you need to be caught up. If you have not been showing income, you need to wait until you start showing income. Now there are some people who will go back and amend their tax returns. I do not recommend that, and I will more than likely not do that for you, because that is a great way to get audited. So, and I'll tell you a true story. I had a client who I prepared a tax return for, and she wanted to go back and amend her tax returns. I would not do them, so she went to someone else to amend the tax returns for her. And fast forward about 5 years, she was indicted for tax and
Oh,
fraud.
wow. Wow.
And I was so glad too that my name was on the original tax return that was legitimately prepared, as opposed to the fraudulent tax return that they were investigating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Question? Any other questions about taxes or tax returns, or you know?
I have a question. You said to not put your LLC as a S corp. You said to never do that.
No, not
Really?
to put property in the S corp.
Right.
It's the reason why. If you are in Georgia and you have an S corporation and you have property in that S corporation, Georgia does not. S corporations don't pay income taxes. They're pass-through entities. So the profits from an S corporation passes through to the owners, and the owners pay taxes on the individual. But if you're in Georgia and you put property in an S corporation, you will be subject to what's called the net worth tax. The net worth tax is based on your assets. And so when you put property into that S corporation, now you have an asset. So let's say you bought a $200,000 property. You have $200,000 in assets that they will now tax, even if that asset is not creating any income. And that's a tax that would not apply if you were a partnership or a sole proprietorship. I had a client who was not advised by me. She came to me afterwards, and she had 3 rental properties that she had put into an S corporation. Somebody advised her to put it in an S corporation, and her rental properties were all losing money. She was not showing a profit on any of those properties, but her annual tax bill for the state was $800. So, don't do it.
Right.
It's not, because even if you're making money, why do you want to pay tax? Why do you want to pay net worth tax on a piece of property, when if you just structure your organization right, you don't have to pay that tax? So, I don't recommend it.
Does that make sense, everyone? Yes. Go ahead, Ken.
So I have a question.
I'm gonna turn the camera around, thanks.
Not a problem.
Yep, there you go.
One of our clients was advised to set up an LLC, but have an S corp election on the LLC. How do you feel about that structure?
That's what I just told, that's the example I just gave.
Okay.
So,
The LLC that was set up as an S corporation, so I say that they need to, revoke the S corp status. You don't have to change the entity name, you don't have to get a new EIN number, anything like that, it's just basically, you need to just tell the IRS, never mind, I don't want to be S corp, I just want to be LLC, tax as a partnership.
Okay.
So, I would revoke that S corp status because the only way, or the only reason why you would take the S election with real estate investing is if you're doing property management and you're not, and the LLC that has that S election does not own the property.
Right, and that's how I'm structured. So Bernadette, that's why I said to Richard that I knew exactly what he was speaking of, because Legacy Realty and Management is set up as an LLC because I do not hold real estate in that entity. Do you understand? So that's an example. Now, I manage property on behalf of others as a property manager. And those funds are held in trust. So therefore, it's not my personal income. So therefore, all of that money that's passing through the business is written off as the investor's money. And I give that investor what's called a 1099 at the end of the year, reporting their income. Rental income is income. That's that multiple stream of income we talked about. So for those of y'all investors that are not looking specifically for a fix and flip model, that buy and hold model would work in that regard. That's your buy and hold. You're having rental income. That's that passive residual income. Does that make sense? And if it doesn't, ask questions now. Don't wait. Okay, that's what I was waiting for. Go ahead.
As you get your, you set your LLC up, right? First thing you gotta do is, get a tax ID number.
Absolutely. And that's free. You do that online. I got mine within an hour, literally. You submit everything, you say this is the company, and somehow the system knows how to go into the back end of these Secretary of States, and they see, oh yeah, this is a legal entity, and now they'll assign you your tax ID. I literally did that while sitting in the bank, opening up a brand new checking account for the business. The banker was like, oh, we can get that right now. Yeah, and it costs nothing. You do it right on the irs.gov website. Okay? Everybody got that? Questions? Any more questions? This is your time. Bernadette is the expert.
I got a question.
There you go.
Since I'm doing this business, right? These people act as a guide for me.
That's right.
That's serious.
That's right. So Bernadette, with that being said, my love, go ahead and sell yourself and your services and your products and your books and your business. Tell them how to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if any of you, hopefully you'll ask the questions now. But
That's
if
right.
any of you have questions that maybe are personal or specific to your situation, you can schedule a free call with me on my website. It's buythebookaccounting.com.
What do you do?
Buy the book accounting.
Buy the book accounting. Actually, I can do it real quick. So it's buythebookaccounting.com. You can schedule a free call with me, and we can talk about your situation, or if you have any specific questions that you don't want on Facebook Live.
Right.
To answer those questions for you. So I've been doing this for 17 years, so I kind of have an idea what I'm talking about.
Right.
Got a quick question.
Yes.
So I just trying to get clarity. So if you're flipping houses, that should be set up on an LLC as a sole proprietor or a partnership. But if you're buying and holding, can you still run that through the sole proprietorship and partnership, or should that be set up as an S corp, a separate
You
business?
can, and so that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing that you want to think about. Partnership can only happen if they're multiple owners. And so that's one piece, right? So from a tax
Yeah, so you're saying as a sole proprietor, I can flip with that corporation, but I can also buy and hold with that corporation as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So sole proprietor is just by definition, sole means one, sole proprietor means that you're the only owner. So if you are the only owner in your entity, then sole proprietorship is gonna be the automatic or the default treatment of your entity type. You will only make an election to be something else, like an S corp or C corp, if there was a different, different set of scenarios. And just depending on the type of business or structure that you have will determine whether the S corp model makes sense or not. The other thing is that a lot of people don't realize is being an S corporation means that your entity will have to file a separate tax return. So that S corporate is a separate tax return that costs a lot more than a sole proprietorship. So if you're just getting started, you're not making money or you're losing money to get started, it doesn't make sense to create the S corporation because you're going to create more expenses. Now, for me as an accountant, it's to my benefit to switch you to an S corporation because I can charge more for your tax prep. But I don't do that for my clients. If you're not making a lot of money, and it doesn't make any sense for you financially, I'm not going to put you in an S corporation just to get extra fees from you because it's going to cost you more in the long run. So when you're first getting started, that sole proprietorship, it just makes sense because think of it like this, right? So sole proprietorship is like dating. Like you date somebody, you go out, and you have a good time, and then after a while you try to get to know them, and you can make a decision. Like, are they crazy? To my mom.
That's right.
And so if they're crazy, then you can just ditch them, right? Like, oh no, this is not gonna work. See you when I see you.
Right.
If you're done, it's so fraction, you can just shut that thing down just like that. That's just like dating. S corporation is like marriage. Like, yeah, you can shut it down, but it's gonna take something. You can't just wake up today and say, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. You gotta actually do some paperwork to actually shut it down. And that's the same thing with the sole proprietorship. When you get into the situation where you actually created a corporate entity, shutting it down is a little bit different. So I say don't get married until you know for sure that that's really what you want to do. And so real estate investment might not be what you want,
Right.
or it might not be what you think it is. And so it might make sense to just date for a little while, right? And then when things get serious, then you put a ring on it.
Right.
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 Perfect, makes sense.
Thank
All
you.
right, Beyonce.
Right. It's the truth. It's the truth. It just is. I'm just saying. Good. So give everyone your social media connections.
Okay. So my personal social media, you can follow me on @TrustBernadette. And if you go to my website, you'll have a link to BobscoCounty.com to all of the Bobsco County social media sites. I'll stick around in the comments. I don't really see on camera, but
Right.
so again, if anybody has any questions that it's just too personal for the Facebook Live, feel free to schedule a call with me. First call is free, and we can talk about your specific situation, your specific questions. Hopefully this was helpful information and not too overwhelming. And like I said, I'll stick around and I'll be in the comments, so I'll be here for a little bit longer. So again, thanks Sabrina for letting me join in all the way from North for that.
Absolutely, sweetie. You're so welcome. Mr. Jones has another question for you.
Okay.
On this buy the book account,
Yep.
you got a personal phone number?
The business phone number. Go ahead with the phone number for the office, Bernadette.
It's 678-608-2775.
Okay.
Everybody got it? We'll drop it down in the comments too, Bernadette, so that they can have your links. Yeah, because the stream is going, so those of they're driving or whatever they're doing, go ahead and drop it in the comments too.
I got it.
Okay. Any other questions for Bernadette? What do y'all think? Technology, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for having a seat at my table, my love.
Thank you for the invite. You guys have a great one. Like I said, I'll stick around and watch the live.
If we have any questions, yeah, we can always pop you back on. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, my dear. And so y'all have just had your very first example of what Facebook Live can do for you.
True.
Do you understand? That's real power of technology. And I make it happen like that because why otherwise would she make a commute from over an hour to be here and she can still have a seat at my table? And that's how we collaborate. So I love that. And I thank you, Joy, for being here. Joy Pearson is the inventor of this phenomenal device that we use. This tool has made a significant impact in my business by way of all of these tech. Look around the room. Do y'all see what's happening here? We have been going viral. I'm watching the reshares happening as y'all are sitting here. So people are receiving this information and then it'll be saved so you can go back later on if you missed something. Okay? So Ken and Nicole, I would like for you all to come up next because guess what? This financial piece is crucial.
Sure.
And I just really need to hone in, dig deep. How do we use other people's money? How much does it cost us to use other people's money? And how long do we get to use other people's money? Okay?
Speaking my language. Speaking my
Okay,
language.
so ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that are watching us live, I thank you again for tuning in. And I see so many of you guys are literally on here with us. Thank you so much. And so what we're doing now is we're going to focus on the financial piece. And so let me just flip that camera back around. Okay? And no further ado, I can get you all hooked up. Kenneth Igwe, come on around here.
Good afternoon, Facebook. How's everyone doing today?
Fine, how are you doing, sir?
Good.
Yeah.
My name is Kenneth Igwe. I'm a Baker Collins. Very simply, we are a private money lending group here in Atlanta. We finance projects all over the Southeast. We move forward. We will fund projects as far west as Texas, as far north as New Jersey. Yes, we will do Mid-Atlantic as well as some parts of the Northeast as well. So one of the things that we like to do is we like to really get to know our clients. We like to understand exactly what are they looking to do. With us, we finance residential as well as commercial real estate projects. On the residential side, we will fund new construction projects, renovation loans, lines of credit, as well as rental loans. On the commercial side, we'll finance multifamily, office, buildings, things of that sort, retail subdivisions as well. With us, we work with experienced investors, and we also work with folks who are just starting like yourself. Many times when someone comes to us, they're brand new. They have absolutely no idea as to how to start the process or how to start the work and how to go about getting involved. And they're intimidated. There's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that you have to figure out. There's a lot that you have to work around. And we like to really get to understand what exactly you're looking to accomplish. You know, how many loans are you trying to do just this year? What are some of your goals? Are you trying to scale fast or are you trying to scale slow? What are you trying to do? So one of the things that we like to do is we kind of really want to get to understand our clients and make certain that that actually does work. So to kind of go over, this presentation is essentially built for about an hour, but you're going to have the condensed version of about 20 minutes because it's all the same. Again, we're Baker Collins and Company. We're a private lending company here as well. If you push to the first.
You can hit it here.
Oh, awesome.
See, hit your next. There you go. Oh yeah, you got it.
Oh,
If you just click, it should work. Click off of that.
move a little closer.
Yeah, so it's Bluetooth, so it's gonna work wherever you are.
Sabrina's all things technology.
Absolutely. That's okay. I think it's because your finger is touching over here.
Okay.
Oh,
Got it.
literally.
Awesome.
Okay?
And a couple of objectives that we're going to have today. What exactly is a hard money loan? Why use a hard money loan? Why use Baker Collins Company to fund your deals? A couple of deal scenarios, my favorite. We're going to go into getting a pre-approved for a hard money loan as well. With us, what exactly is a hard money loan? Obviously, there's a lot of false narratives. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of things that people tend to tell you about what hard money is. It's very simple. All it is essentially a loan based off of a hard asset. That's it. Obviously, their interest rates are a little higher. There's origination points are a tad bit higher, but you always want to make certain that that is exactly what it is. And it's again, the loan, the amount of the loan is really based on or determined by the value of the collateral of the property. That's what we look for. The thing that really puts the most weight, that we put the most weight on the project, is the value of the property, nothing more, nothing less. We do take into account other factors such as credit, experience, liquidity, those things, but the value of the property is really what we look at. Our loans are based off of a certain LTV, loan to value. Again, based off the value of the property. We protect ourselves as lenders because we minimize our risk and we lend at a certain LTV. So you will have to bring money to closing, but we'll kind of share with you exactly what that number will have to be. Our interest rates range from 8% to 15%. These are speculative loans. Banks don't like doing these type of deals. The reason for that, because think about it, you're taking a property, you're buying it in a dilapidated position, you're renovating it for some number, what you're going to say, and you're hoping to sell it for some number in the future. There's a lot of speculation there, there's a lot of risk there. Banks don't like taking on that risk. Because of that, we're in business. We don't mind taking on that risk. We don't mind being able to offer our clients these loans, but the interest rates are going to range between 8 to 15%. These are interest-only loans. So essentially you're paying on the interest, not necessarily on the principal. You're never really paying down the principal, you're just paying that interest on that as well.
It should go.
Okay,
There you go.
awesome. I get this, guys.
You want me to drive?
Yeah,
I'll drive.
yeah, okay, good. What exactly is a hard money loan? We can go into. There's some of the advantages, you can just go ahead and click on
Got
it. Quick approval, we get you approved fairly quickly. And Metro Atlanta is super competitive. In Metro Atlanta, you have to be able to move as fast as possible. You're competing against folks all over the city of Atlanta, obviously. You're competing against Georgia investors, you're competing against national investors, and you are competing against international investors. You're competing against large groups of folks that are able to buy properties in one swath. So you have to be able to make certain that when you're working with a financial institution, they're able to invest and pre-approve you really quickly. These properties do not last on the market that long. There have been some times where we've seen folks lose a property in a couple of hours. Hey, property just went under contract or just listed, someone like Sabrina, a really good realtor, will list a property, she'll put on the MLS. There are people that are combing the MLS looking for properties for that. So you gotta make sure that you get pre-approved fairly quickly. Number two, we close really fast, 7 to 14 days. 14 days is on the long side. You know, it typically, our average is about 8 to 10. You know, to be able to close a property, essentially we need to get a couple pieces of information from you, not a lot, because we're private money. We do things a little bit differently than your typical conventional bank. But we can close your loan within 14 days, and that's 14 business days. Have we closed deals within 3 to 5 days? Yes. Do we like doing that? Not necessarily. Kind of stressful, but it can be done. However, if you do have a deal that does require us to close a deal in a much faster time frame, we can do that as well for you. Just give us a heads up. It's much easier to qualify. Much fewer requirements in conventional financing sources. With us, to get pre-approved, all we need is a pre-approval, and all we need is a loan application from you. You can apply online, number one, or we can send you out a fillable PDF to the point where you don't even have to print out anything. You can literally just send you a PDF, it's a fillable document, you fill it in, you send it back to us, along with your last 2 months bank statements. At times, we may need your tax returns, but with tax returns, I know we just had an accountant speak about tax returns, we do want to make certain that you're compliant. With us, we understand that some real estate investors are able to, write off a lot of things, but with us, we just want to make certain that you're compliant with the federal government. The biggest things for us to get pre-approved with us, loan application, number one, and your last 2 months bank statements. We need to know that you have liquidity. We want to make certain that you're not going to overextend yourself when you get into these real estate investment properties. We provide more options to fit your projects, as well as including renovation loans. We provide you the rehab, as well as the acquisition to buy this property. So we're going to give you the money to buy it, we're going to give you the money to renovate it. And hopefully you're going to be able to sell that property once it's fully rehabbed, or even refinance it into a longer term rental loan. That's another option that you have as well. And again, all credit scenarios considered. With us, just because you may have, and I will never use the word bad credit. Right. That is something you will never hear me say. I will say that it's challenge credit, right? And credit is just a temporary snapshot of where you're at. It doesn't define who you are as a person. It doesn't define if you have bad character or not, because there are some groups who tend to say that. I don't believe that. There are good people who just have had challenging situations and haven't been able to make some payments on time. So we will lend to folks who do have challenged credit. And I'm very open to, Sabrina made a really good observation right here as far as operating agreements. Essentially, it's collaborations.
Yep.
We do not mind you guys collaborating. In fact, we encourage you to go ahead and collaborate with other like-minded investors, because that's essentially how you can really grow and scale your business based off of what you have as well. So, to the next slide. This is the most important part of the slide. This is essentially how every single private lender in the country is going to look at your project. We pay attention to the strength of the project. That is the most important thing, because if that doesn't make sense for us, nothing else matters. The strength of the project has to make sense. And to define the strength of the project, we typically like to see that you're able to buy the property at 65% of the future value. That's what we tend to lend at. Now, for the most part, we can go up to 75%. We average 70% of the future value. But 65% of what the future value is going to be is what we're going to lend out. That's what we feel most comfortable with. If we pass that one item, then we can go into experience. We work with tons of new investors all the time. Don't mind doing it. We love new investors. I love seeing a new investor get into the process of collecting documents and doing other things. And I love seeing new investors sell their first property. For someone to make $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 in 6 to 9 months, it's life-changing. And the thing about real estate investing, when you get into real estate investing is a vehicle more than it is it's a vehicle, it's a lifestyle. It allows you to do so many different things. Mm-hmm. Now you have a skill set that you can use for the remainder of your life that no one can take away from you. And you can keep doing it over and over again. We've seen folks take care of their families with real estate, the profits they make real estate investing, start other businesses, put their kids in different schools, buy new cars, vacations. It just changes your life once you're able to be successful at it as well. Liquidity. We want to see that you have 20% of the total project cost in some account. Bank accounts. We need to see this. We do not want you to get overextended. If it comes down to you making the monthly payments on your investment property or your personal property, which one do you think it's going to lose? The investment property. Right. So we want to make sure that you have.
I'm gonna need everybody to know that.
Exactly.
Listen, that was a long pause.
That's why we need
Somebody
to make sure that.
Yes.
And here's the thing, guys. Liquidity doesn't necessarily have to be your own capital.
Right.
Again, let's go back to operating agreement. Let's go back to LLCs and corporations. And I can't tell you what entity to set up, but the beautiful thing about this country is it allows you to set up these particular entities that allow you to collaborate with other folks. One person could be the credit person, another person could be the liquidity partner, another person could have the experience. So get creative.
Yes.
Get to start to think about who can you add to your company that can really help you get to where you want to be.
Yes.
We are so open to that.
And I just want to chime in. So Glenn Gasper is at the table for that piece of our conversation. His nickname is Mr. Dollar Out of a Dime. So I just really want y'all to hear what those strategies in creative financing look like, right? So this is kind of like your little bit more corporate private money, but he know how to really get the private mattress money and be real creative, okay? So Mr. Gasper will be your connect for that. Absolutely.
Very much so. And credit, again, we prefer a 620 middle score. We look at a tri-merge credit report, just like a conventional lender.
Yeah.
We're going to take a look at the 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and we want to look at we tend to look at the one that's in the middle. We prefer a 620 middle score. We can go as low as a 600. In some cases, we don't even need to pull credit, but what will happen is your interest rates are going to increase, your cash to close is going to increase, or your down payment will increase. To kind of reiterate, the strength of the project makes the most sense to us. If the strength of the project is fine for us, if we're comfortable with the strength of the project, everything else, every other factor really dictates your interest rate and how much you bring to closing as far as the down payment. So again, the item that you want to focus on the most is the strength of the project. Next slide as well. And maximum allowable offer, this is a very simple formula. It is not hard rule, it's not, it doesn't work 100% of the time. It's an approximation, not a specification. Meaning that this allows you to kind of know what you're gonna pay for a property, assuming that you have a couple of variables in place. If someone tells me that the ARV stands for after repair value, for anyone who does not know, we have an appraiser back here.
We
as
sure
well,
do.
Nix. We
Michael
on a
Nix
number of
is in the
projects.
building, ladies
So
and
Michael is
gentlemen.
all about ARVs.
Yes.
He's the guy that you wanna talk to when it comes to comps and things of that sort. But if, for whatever reason, someone tells you that the after repair value is $200,000, we tend to lend at 70% of that value. So if you know what your rehab budget is gonna be, you kind of get an idea as to what the most you can pay for a property. Again, to give you an idea, assume the ARV is $200,000, rehab budget is $40,000. We're gonna lend the max at $140. That's the most that we're gonna lend. So if you know what your rehab budget could potentially be, you know that you cannot pay more than $100,000 for that property. Again, that does not work 100% of the time, but it is a good way for you to kind of understand how to make a good offer on your project, on your property as well. Go to the next one. Yeah, that's a very simple formula. It's very simple algebra. Not even algebra, it's just math.
It's just math.
It's not
And now
algebra.
you're
It's
getting
not
fancy,
algebra.
I'm out. You know, that new math make you run out the door. Yes.
And I'm gonna go really fast on the
Yep,
different
yep.
setup, let's make certain.
Yep.
New investor term, this is essentially what a new investor would have to bring, typically 10 to 15% of the total project cost. Total project cost is purchase plus rehab, and we lend at anywhere between 65% or 70% of the future value of the property. Go to the next one. Experienced investors, obviously, because you've kind of gone through the process, you've taken your lumps, you've worked with appraisers, you work with realtors, you work with permitting offices, you work with the individuals in the real estate industry, you're gonna get better pricing. You're gonna bring 10% down for some folks. Interest rates are gonna be a little more attractive because you've kind of shown us, you've been able to demonstrate that you have successfully gone through a project.
Yep.
And for some folks, we can provide 100% financing.
Hello.
This is for some people who do not necessarily mind a higher interest rate, do not necessarily mind a higher origination point. We will finance 100% of the purchase price, 100% of the rehab budget, 100% of the total project, assuming everything falls within 65% of the after repair value. Now, we can even go as high as 70% of the future value. You will still have to bring origination points and fees to closing. So you'll still have to bring something to closing, but it will not be a down payment. Again, there are contingencies there. You have to make certain that the values are still there. You want to make certain that the as-is value is a fair one. We look at the as-is value. We want to make certain that you're paying a fair price for that property, number one, and we want to make certain that the value, the future value, is going to be potentially there. So just something to think about for folks who are interested in kind of doing more deals. Some very experienced investors love this because this allows them to do more deals.
Yeah.
They can get to more projects and ultimately make more money.
Cash flow.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Very simple. We're going to speed through this.
Yep.
Why use us? We're a leading private lender here in the Southeast. Actually, that number is closer to 400 deals closed since 2015. All credit scenarios considered, all experience levels considered, all liquidity positions are considered as well. And states we lend in 13 states. Texas, we go as far as north as New Jersey.
Jersey.
And so
My
I think we
family's
can-
on in Jersey.
There you go. Hey, New Jersey. We've got Mr. Hines is from New Jersey as well. So yes, we've got some Philadelphia Eagles fans here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Super Bowl champions.
Oh, all right now.
I'm a Patriots fan, by the way.
Boo.
I know. Next slide. So
Yes.
essentially, these are the states we lend in. We have a very simple process. Again, you can go to our website to kind of learn more about this. It's very simple. We try to keep things as simple as possible for our clients. We don't want to make things hard. The easier we make it for you, the easier it is for you to kind of move forward and do the more hard things as well. Couple deal scenarios, you can go real fast
Yeah.
on these ones. These are real deals. We've just manipulated the numbers a tad bit. So these are real addresses you guys can go and fill out and things of that sort. Purchase price $50,000, rehab budget $68,000, total project cost $118,000, loan amount $110,000, cash to close. She brought $13,000. ARV was $181,000. Again, ARV stands for after repair value. Sold it for $177,000. Gross profit $67,000. Holding cost $7,700. Holding costs, essentially that's your monthly payments. You want to factor that in every single time you do a real estate deal. You want to build in at minimum of 6 months of payments. When someone comes to me and they tell me how much they made on a deal, they tend to tell me the gross. I'm a banker. I want to know the net. And so that's why to get to the net, you want to factor in holding costs, and you want to factor in your realtor commission as well. Sabrina must get paid for the work that she does. To list the property and to help you sell the property. It is always wise. It is recommended. I cannot require it, but I highly recommend that you hire a realtor to sell a property for you, because they can possibly lower your holding costs at the time that you hold on to a loan. Realtor commission, she was a realtor, so she did not pay any commission. She listed it and she found the buyer herself. Net profit of $59,000. She did this in 7 months. Brand new. Brand new. She did not have a lot of money. She had decent credit. She was able to get some folks. She was able to collaborate with other investors. She got them to only up to $13,000, and from there she was able to net $59,300.
That's within a year?
Hmm?
That's within a year?
This is within 7 months.
7 months. Yes, absolutely.
Just a couple of pictures. For the sake of time, we only reduced it to 2. This is the before and the after.
Yeah, nice.
Second deal scenario. We're going to go really
Yep,
fast,
yep.
and this is another one. 5405 Meadow Lane. Purchase price $44,000. Rehab budget.
I'm so
no,
sorry.
you're fine.
I went too fast. There you go.
Rehab budget $17,000. So this is a property that she picked up from another investor. This was a failed investment project. The first investor just could not. They ran out of money. So she had a little more experience, and she kind of knew what to do. Total project cost is $61,000. Loan amount $59,000. Cash to close $8,700. ARV after fair value $128. Sold it for $117. Gross profit $58,000. Holding costs 4 months. Realtor commission $7,000. Her net profit in 4 months was $48,600. So she did okay.
So even the investors make more than the realtors, y'all. You understand? So you know.
Deal scenario number, this kind of a couple of pictures. Again, guys, she picked this up from, this was a failed real estate project. So she was lucky enough, and she knew what to do. She knew exactly what to do before and after. We can go to our last deal scenario.
Yep.
7112 Stonington Drive. Purchase price is $95,000. Rehab budget $38,650. Total project $133,650. Loan amount was $130,000. Cash to close was $10,400. After fair value $210,000. Sold it for $199,000. Gross profit $65,000. Holding costs $1,300. She kept it for 1 month. Realtor commissions $11,900. Net profit $44,750. What jumps out at you on this deal?
She kept it for 1 month.
Yes.
Hello.
This is my favorite deal I've ever done.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because they bought the property in November 2017. They sold it, they bought the property wholesale November 2017. Sold it December, closed on it retail December 30th, 2017.
That's awesome.
They did everything right. Now they had a little bit of an advantage. They owned a construction company.
Okay.
But, you know, they still did everything right. So I love this deal. And for the sake of time, I'm going to show you why they were able to sell that property really, really fast. This is the before picture,
OMG.
and this is the after picture.
Oh, wow.
So they did everything right.
Wow.
They took professional pictures. They hired an amazing realtor. They staged it well. Yes, they staged it well. They took professional pictures. They did everything right, and because of that, they were able to sell it in a really fast time.
That's amazing.
And they just did an amazing job.
Is there a professional photographer? in
That's a
the room?
professional.
Oh, we have the resources behind you. Hello. Trust me, there is a seat at the table right there, right? Fantastic.
And we are almost a professional dream team. Guys, you want to have a dream team.
Yes.
I'm a humongous proponent of getting people on your team. Get a very good realtor, someone who understands investments, someone who does investments themselves. That's the very first person I would look for when you're putting together your team. A wholesaler. A wholesaler is essentially an investment property locator. Mr. Gasper. There are a lot of good wholesalers here in Atlanta. Definitely locate them.
Yep.
They can help you find properties that you may not be able to find on your own.
Or that your realtor can't find.
Exactly.
So that's why he's got a seat at
You
the
got business
table.
cards?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, everybody's gonna get
Okay,
that.
okay.
You trust me, you're not gonna miss nothing. Trust me, you're not.
A lender, a firm that provides financing for your projects. Kind of like us. A closing attorney, you definitely need one. You want a title-friendly closing attorney. You want an investor-friendly closing attorney, someone who understands double closings and assignment of contracts and wholesale deals. You want to make certain that attorney understands how to properly structure those deals. I cannot say that enough. Home inspector, I recommend it, but we do not require it. I highly recommend a home inspector. For anybody who talks offline, I'll tell you why I would recommend one.
Yeah.
Termite inspector, highly recommend that. Contractor, licensed and insured. We can spend an entire day on contractors. We're not going to get into that, but you want to make certain that they're insured and licensed.
So question on the termite inspector, because you are our financial person, are you requiring termite letters to close?
No, we are not
Okay.
requiring termite, but I highly recommend that you get one.
Yeah.
It's $25, sometimes $50 to do it. And the beautiful thing about it is if termites are found, because in Georgia we
Yep.
do have a termite problem.
Yep.
If they're found, we can just add them to the rehab budget. We can add the treatment to the rehab budget. So therefore you're able to finance that treatment as opposed to coming out of pocket. Sir.
No, yes, sir.
Awesome. An insurance broker. We cannot close any loan without having insurance on the deal.
Right.
Typically for renovation loans, a builder's risk policy, we have a couple of great insurance brokers that we
Yes.
can recommend you
Yes.
to. We have to have them as well. And I think we're going to the last
Uh-huh.
slide. How to get pre-approved and close for Harmony Loan, very simply. Again, loan application, you can apply online, very simple. We try to make things as easy as possible. Last 2 months bank statements, we want to show liquidity. And if you don't have bank statements, we're open to other forms of cash equivalent accounts. IRAs, bank accounts, money market accounts, anything along those lines, we're fine with that. We just want to know that you have some resources available. ID, I think there's and to kind of finally close, executed contract, we have to have a contract signed with both the buyer and the seller. We must, if in some cases we will need tax returns, again, we only want to make certain that you're compliant with the federal government. That's it. Rehab budget, floor plans, if you are adding square footage, we need to know what you're building. Business entity docs, the accountant just spoke about that. You have to we only lend to businesses. You have to have business entity docs, must need. Operating agreement, we just discussed that as well. If you have an LLC or something. And builder's risk policy, again, that's a certain type of insurance that is available, that is required for us to close on renovation loans. And again, you guys, we are with you until you sell or refinance the property.
That's
I think that's the
awesome.
last.
That is.
And again, Sabrina, thank you again for having us. It's been amazing. We look forward to it. And again, this is our, again, social media, ways to get in contact with us. I've been told my tech team to get more social media active.
That's right.
And Sabrina is always pressing me to do that, so thank you again for
That's
kind of
right.
sharing that with me as well.
That's right.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, for the sake of the fact that we've been getting it in, y'all, right? Would everyone like a little 5-minute stretch break, and then we'll go into our part 2. We've got coffee and water here in our kitchen break room, and the restrooms are just outside the hall, okay? All right, we'll be back live. Join us in just about 5 minutes, y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
We have coffee and water. Hey, J. Crew. Hey, Caper. My homeboy knows that I'm a photographer, so when you were like, is there a photographer? He on a live stream, he said laugh out loud.